G'day and welcome to another episode. My name is Daethstro, the Aussie Geek, and today we will be looking at MP10B, usually known in Japan as Black Convoy, I guess. But of course, most of us know him better here in Australia and in the West as Nemesis Prime. Now, if watching episodes of Chris McFeely's explaining figures, characters, and whatnot, and my basic understanding of Transformer lore in general, of course, the first convoy first Nemesis Prime we got would have been Scourge from Robots in Disguise, or Car Robots, I believe it was called. So Robots in Disguise 2001, which was just Scourge. But of course, then later on during Armada, we actually got Nemesis Prime. I don't know. Something tells me there was one somewhere in Beast Wars 2 somewhere as well, but I'm not 100% sure on that. But yeah, so this is Nemesis Prime. This is the MP10 mold version. I kind of wish back in the day I'd gotten the white version, so I had a Ultra Magnus version and maybe a gold one for the Golden Lagoon episode, but all I got was the original MP10, and I got Nemesis Prime here. And I always have him displayed with his axe because he just looks a lot more ferocious that way. His gun is actually stored away. But yeah, so he does look really good. I'm pretty sure that Hasbro probably has already put out an MP4 update of Nemesis Prime. Correct me in the comments if they haven't. I know there was at one point I was thinking of getting Transform Elements, Op Leader, and their Nemesis Prime, but honestly, I like my Optimuses too much to worth replacing them. Also, yes, I've already done MP10 a long while back, but considering I've already done two non-masterpieces, that being the Red Dragon, Thunderzord, and Generations Cosmos, I thought I'd do at least a masterpiece next. I just realized I got a slight paint chip up here. So I think it's actually black paint on silver, but it doesn't bother me all that much. I do have a new figure that I got just yesterday, but I thought, you know what, let's do a masterpiece first. So yeah, so he does look really good, especially the red chest plate. That looks really good. So there we go. We can do a size comparison in this form because, of course, we do have MP10. So there is MP10 with MP10B. So as you can see the difference there. I'm trying to focus things a little bit better. I did wipe my screen, so there we go. All right, so we can do a couple of accessories in this mode before we get too transformed. He does, like I said, have, which I haven't pulled this off in the longest time, so it hasn't melted in place. He does have his Energon Axe, which is a nice red. It wouldn't be nice if it had a light up feature, but that's not a thing. If we come around the back, which is on MP10, I don't know if I mentioned it. I hope I did back in the day. But if you fold this down, you can reach in here, and there is his laser rifle. What was the term they used nowadays? Ion Blaster was what it used to be called. So it's now called the laser rifle, but it used to be called the Ion Blaster. So, and of course, you can hold it. It's pegged in. I would have preferred at one point to just have a solid one of these, because it is a bit floppy. I'm guessing he is keeping me from focusing properly. Try that again. There we go. So yeah, it is a bit floppy with all the connections. That's the whole point, so that way you can store it away. He holds it just like Prime, the normal MP10 does, so that can go back where it was. So you just want this piece, oops, that's going to sit in this groove here. And that can just all fold up. Now, he does have a matrix case, just like the original MP10 did, but I have all, preferably focused, I have all my matrices actually on display. So here is his. And we can open up his chest. And you want to flip this piece up, and there is the actual, use the light here, there is the actual cover, but I have found with MP10 and this one that this tends to grip onto here, so I just leave it in. Of course, there's his matrix case, and you do see a little bit of detail in here. So close that up. We won't bother putting the matrix in because I'll just end up taking it out anyway. So there we go. We can turn the light back off. All right, as for articulation, if we straighten everything out, head can do a full 360. It's very tight because I very rarely actually fiddle with this guy. His antennas move back and forth if you want to use it for something. Head goes up that far, head goes down that far, it doesn't go side to side, it's not a ball joint. Arms can do a full 360. If you pull the joint all the way out, you get up to that far. You can also, if you bend the elbow and whatnot, you can actually get a little bit further in. And of course, if you don't like the joints there at all, you can just compress it all up against his shoulders if you want. Bicep rotation. We have elbow bend that gets you that far. If you want to sort of flatten this out more, you can use the transformation joint and shorten that up if you want. We have wrist rotation. We have, I was going to say single jointed index finger, but we don't. We actually have all the knuckles are one piece. We do have, I'm having a hard time focusing. We do have individual index finger. These are one solid piece, typewriter pose, and the thumb doesn't move at all. I don't know why I'm having such a hard time focusing on him. Anyway, so we lift that out of the way. We do have waist rotation. There is no ab crunch. Leg, if you don't use that knee, goes up that far. Leg goes back that far on that nice ratchet. Goes out that far. Ball joint sort of hip, so it does give you a bit of a rotation there. Rotation there at the knee. Single jointed knee to get you that far. It also gets you that far for a reason that I can't really fathom. You have ankle tilt, which gets you that far, but if you push the ankle along, you get further. It goes up a little bit, toe goes down, goes up a little bit, and heel moves a little bit too. So there we go. So let's get this guy transformed. All right. So I was going to say we didn't need to move that, and we don't. I'm just trying to remember the steps because it has been a while, and I've literally just pulled this guy off the shelf. So what we're going to do is we'll start with the hands. We do have, where are they? A tab under, a panel under here. Just flip that down, flip this all the way around till it's flat. Bring that up. You can also bring this out for the time being because I know I'll forget that later. Same on the other side. Flip that down. Rotate it around. Bring that back up. Flip this down so I don't forget. We can bend the elbows and straighten all this up. Do the same on this side. This will all move because eventually it'll swivel, rotate, whatever you want to call it. All right, so we might as well, I'm just trying to think whether the legs would be probably the easier next step. Yeah, we'll start with the legs. So we're going to rotate his waist. Beg my pardon. We're going to flatten his feet out. And what we're going to do is we want to get this and this sort of rotated. So this is going to flip over and around, which will go into that gap. This is going to flip up the fuel canister first, which is a little bit tight on mine. Get that clear so you can get the tires out, and that's going to flip under there. And we can bring that back down for the time being. So flip that around. And pull this up. That was a little bit cleaner. Flip that around so it's flat. And that can come back down. For the time being, we'll need it elsewhere for transformation. Then we can tab the legs here together. And then you can use those ankle joints to slide them across. And you can tab all that in. Now what we're going to do is we're going to use his hips. I'm going to say, I know I get a lot flatter than that. I'm trying to remember. Actually, I think that's stay straightened out, maybe. I'm trying to remember, like I said, it's been a while since I've done this, so I'm doing everything off most memory, but I'm pretty sure I straightened that out a lot more. Anywho, all right, so we will do the backpack and the chest. So for starters, I'm going to bring these pieces down the best I can. And same on this side, and we're just going to flip all these chrome bits out, which are a lot more, what's the word? Disintegrated. Oh, disintegrated is not the better word, but the paint's come off my normal MP10. All right, so we're going to open up the chest, providing the arms are out of the way. And we're going to flip this piece out. And that's going to, or it should, yep, that'll give us all this. So I was partly wrong. All right, so what we want to do is we want to get the wheels down, and that's going to bring all this with it. And we sort of want to rotate that so all this comes to the front. And what's going to happen, and you won't really see it, but all this will go into here. So yes, the legs do go at a different angle, just not the angle I was remembering. So I'll just bring that down the best I can. That actually clicked in where I don't think my other MP10 actually did that. So we'll put them down there and we'll drop this camera a bit. Sorry about that. That was a quick drop. All right, so what we're going to do is try to get this all the way. You're going to pull this whole chest piece out that includes the matrix chamber, and we can flip up the actual thing. Like I said, this is going to come with it. So if you're seeing it that way, you will see the matrix sort of that way. We want to flip the head in, so that'll sit now in here. And what we want to do is, I'm just going to lift these up, and what we need to do is get these into here. Actually, these are the last step. So just get all this chrome out, just sort of line this up the best you can. Actually, that's going to end up all shifting anyway, so ignore that. So we're going to do the traditional Optimus shoulders. We're going to slide it back, and we're going to rotate the bicep at the same time. This is where we need it all sort of collapsed. So that's going to go in, and all this is going to go under there. So it should sort of sit over the top of the wheel. If I can get it under there. Come on. It's not difficult. It's just a little bit fiddly. It's not that bad. Honestly, from all the videos I've seen of MP44, that thing scares me. There's a lot of figures that scare me, especially the MP44, which I will never, ever, ever, ever own, because, as I said, I prefer my MP10. But all the steps that thing took, especially after watching Jobby do it, it just does not look good to me. So I'm just trying to do my best to clear things. Get that shoulder pushed back in. Get that back piece back where it is. I realized I missed a step on the legs, but we'll do that in a minute. All right, so we have all this now roughly where we want it. So what we want to do is we can flip all this up. And as long as everything's in place, you're going to use a little tab in here that's going to go into here. So you're better off pulling the front of the cab forward as best you can and tabbing that in. And do the same thing on the other side. Just sort of line it up best you can. Once it's in place, it's pretty good. And the headlights are just going to plug in underneath here. Just give it a push down, and we're going to close up that cab. Then we can do a step that I forgot, but I'll do this first. So there is two tabs here that's going to go into the sort of the hips. It's like really small tabs. If I can get it in. It's like, I don't know if you can see it. I might be able to show you from this side. Just in there. So it's going to plug into there. So it's just a matter of getting that up. There we go. And that tab's there in place. If it's not rocking, it's in the right spot. So there we go. Then what we can do is we can do these legs, and as you see, I've basically untabbed them. But you have these two buttons here. Press that in, and as long as your leg's straight, it will compress your leg. So that's actually what keeps it from going back down when he's in rev up mode. So then we can put all that back together. And then we can do the last step, which as long as everything is lined up correctly, you have these tanks here, which there is a tab here, which is going to go into here. So just flip that up, line it up best you can, and I'm pressing on things that I don't want to press on. And do that on the other side. And try not to untab his legs in the process. For some reason, I don't know why, this one is a little stiffer. It's not quite using that double hinge how I want it to. I don't know why. There we go. Gotcha. So just give it a nice squeeze and compress things like you do. And we're almost finished. Just making sure that front cab's tabbed in like it should be. Front cab. What am I talking about? The front bumper. All right, so we're almost finished. What we want to do is we can now drop these down as far as they'll go, which is not very far. So that way it gives you the actual look of that. And then we can flip out side mirrors. Not too hard. You don't want to break them off. Just enough that they will pop out. And there is Nemesis Prime in his truck mode. Now, I will start by saying, no, this guy does not come with a trailer. If I had been more into the know back in the days, I probably could have gotten a fourth party or knockoff MP10 trailer that was recolored as Nemesis Prime trailer. I remember seeing them, but I wasn't quite into that facet of collecting at that point. By the time I was collecting this guy, I was still only collecting masterpiece figures. I hadn't got into third party and all that, so all that was a bit too out there for me. But yeah, rubber tires, which is always nice, and it does roll really nicely. He will fit MP10's trailer, of course, using these two hitches here, which every time I try to press that in, I unplug those. Never mind. I do believe that MP44 actually had a modification of the hitch so that it actually could still use MP10's trailer. Take that for what it's worth. But yeah, I always somehow push them back in. And of course, you can open up the canopy if you want, but you don't see no details. But that's pretty standard Optimus for back in the day before MP44. Like, I don't mind when they add doors and stuff, but I would rather it be like this, where it's just a cohesive thing, where the arms and everything are not going to be hindered by that sort of transformation. So, yeah, that is what it is. But we do have a size comparison for here. There he is with Windblade. So if I lift the camera up a little bit, 1 second. I need to get an automatic one instead of using knobs and stuff to make it a little bit easier. Let me know if it just makes you queasy. So yeah, pretty decent, same size. So there we go. And while I don't have, I have not in a cut transformed MP10, I do have a slight comparison. Here is basically the Jada non-transforming Optimus Prime, which I don't think I've ever done a video of, which it would be a very quick video. So let me know if you'd actually like me to do a quick video of this untransforming transformer. So there we go. So that you get a rough idea of what it would look like with MP10 next to it. And of course, I don't have MP44. I'm not buying MP44. He's too expensive, and I don't feel the need to actually own one. As for storage, you would have seen that the gun goes in his back, but the axe is not going anywhere because he doesn't have a trailer, because that's where MP10's is in his trailer. And I don't think there's no roller or anything. So, but I will say, if mod fans ever did make a Nemesis Prime colored roller, I'd buy him. I don't need the silver one, and I love getting the red and blue, but I would so buy another one if they had Nemesis Prime colors. I know there's a green one, but I haven't found any use for that whatsoever. So let's get this guy transformed back again. So we're just going to push those side mirrors in, and we can just pull up the smokestacks as far as we can. We're just going to unplug those, just bring them back for the time being. And just for some clearance for later, we might as well untab these and just extend those legs. And I couldn't remember if the actual plug worked both ways. I don't think it does. I think it only works, one way. Actually, I might be wrong, but I'm not feeling any compression, so I don't think it is. I think, there we go. I'm pretty sure that it only locks in one way. So there we go. So we're just going to leave that the way it is. I'm just going to plug them in so they don't wibble everywhere. Although I won't lie, that does remind me of Motor Master, which I do have 2 Motor Masters, but I don't think I'm going to be transforming this guy for either comparison. But maybe next time, because I don't think I did it with the Transformations Motor Master. I might use this guy as a robot comparison for the Fans Toys Motor Master. So I've got all the Fans Toys except for Breakdown. Dead End, because he hasn't obviously come out yet, but I do have him pre-ordered. So there is that. So we can open up the windows again, and we want to get in here, and I shouldn't have cut my nails. If you're having trouble with this piece, just push the front of the bumper in, and that will give you enough clearance to get those out, and then we can bring these down like so. All right, we're going to get the arms out, and they are a lot easier to get out than get in a lot of the times. So it's just a matter of getting in there, just pushing that apart, certain things, and bringing the shoulder out at the same time. So there we go. And just give that a pull to get that shoulder joint moving, and same on the other side. So out, shoulder. Like I said, mine's a bit tight because I don't transform in much. So all these joints in the shoulders are really tight. All right, so we want to get the head out first. You can rotate the head if you want. That's up to you. And it sort of has a natural stopping point, even though you can go further. Just sort of when it starts getting, the tension gets tight, that's where you got to stop. All right, so push the matrix case back into his chest. Of course, if you had your matrix in there, it'd be in there. And just close that up. And we want to sort of just lift these out of the way without popping these at all. And we want to rotate the wheels around, and we're going to pull this piece down. So just pull this down so when it goes up, it's got a bit more clearance. So rotate that around, push that down. This is going to come up. That's going to create his abs. And if we get the arms out of the way correctly, we can fold the chrome pieces in, and then we can just sort of slide that back. It does feel like you're forcing it past points, which I suppose if you could get those arms a little bit more flattened, you'd be right, but you should be pretty right anyway. So fold, fold, and just bring that back. So there, the backpack's basically all done now. All right, so what we want to do is we want to untab this piece, which my MP10 never does want to tab in, and my backpack's coming undone now. You want to get that untabbed. Come on. Oh, I didn't show it because it basically didn't stop me, but there's the tab that plugs into here. So really I should have untab that first, but it got through anyway. So you're going to fold that back, and then you have a small gap in here, and there's a tab. You didn't see that, sorry about that. There's a small port in here, and there's a tab in here. So when you bring that back, it's going to go behind here. Oops, sorry, Brian. And you're going to use the tab to tab in on it. Might have to pull it forward a little bit. Just get it behind and push it in, and you'll be right. All right, we can close up the chest piece because now we don't need it. All right, we're going to turn that waist around again, and we'll get back to the legs in a minute. The arms in a minute, but we will get the legs done. So flip these up. I'm going to spread his legs a little bit. This is going to come around and cover the wheels. You don't have, if you like the look of the wheels being visible, you can just leave that. It doesn't hinder anything. It's the same here. If you don't want this detail, you can just leave that where it is. It just means he's going to have a slightly thicker inner thigh or inner shin. But it's up to you. It doesn't really hinder anything. So it's up to you. But I'm obviously going to swing that around. Just sort of get that around there. And then bring that down, and that sort of fills in that gap. And then we can flip up the toe, flip out the heel, and of course we can flip in his shin, which does tab in. I keep forgetting that. There's a little tab here. I don't know if you can see it, which I forgot all about because I didn't even feel it. So it's right here, which tabs in over here. And then it just comes around, and there's this tab here, which will go into these two spots, which they don't really tab in, but because of the way this hinge is designed, it just sort of snaps in place regardless. So flip that around, and that's going to stay put. Flip this around, bring that in, and then we can bring this one down. That one's looser. It's basically pins and whatnot, so there's nothing really I can do apart from wear and tear, which, as I keep saying, I don't transform him much, not as much as I had MP10. So, yeah, he's not going to be as loose. All right, up we go. And we can finish the arms off. Now, to those of you who are like me, you will probably forget to use this piece when you're transforming him. The amount of times I've transformed both him and MP10, and I've forgotten that bit, and I've gone, oh, great, now I'm going to pull the arms apart to get it back in. All right, so we're going to drop the bicep. We're going to come under here again and flip that panel out. We're going to turn this all the way around until we have flat. This is going to come up here to fill in the bottom of the forearm. My feet are a little loose, so maybe I need to mess with the screws a little bit, but they're pretty right. Bring that down, turn that around, close that up, and of course you extend his bicep. And as I said, if you want a clean, flat look, you can press it up against the body. If you need to use those joints, you can pull them out, and of course you can fiddle with it. So if you want to say, I don't know, bring it out a little bit, and you just sort of want to lift it up, you can then compress it. So you're actually hiding that joint if you don't feel the need for it. So it's up to you how much you want to show to see that joint. Also, I didn't get to show it because he was already doing it, but you have this, which is his fist. And as far as I know, this is designed for his right hand. I have dusted it, but it might be just the material. But basically, this big old piece is going to go over his thumb. So just press that back, and voila, he has his Energon axe again. And of course, then later on, I can reposition him how he was and put him back on the shelf next to Motor Masters. I think I got both Motor Masters on either side of him and Shockwave in front of him, if I remember correctly. And of course, you can take his gun, pull it out, and put it in his hand if you really want to. So there we go. I won't lie, I have been thinking about going back and doing some of my old reviews again. Specifically the ones before I had unlimited time, because there was a lot of them that I rushed through. So yeah, I guess this is just a nice tester if you're interested in me doing that, let me know in the comments if you wouldn't mind me doing some of my old reviews again. I won't be deleting the old ones. The old ones stay where they are. I'd just be revisiting them again, doing both transformations to and from, depending on the character. Just giving them a little bit more time to actually look at them properly instead of the 15 minutes I used to have where it was all, get it all done and yep, finished, all right, bye, and rush off. So there we go. So if you liked this video, give me a thumbs up. If you didn't like this video, give me a thumbs down. I promise you it will not hurt my feelings. Subscribe, ring that bell, leave me a comment. I always do like reading comments and responding to comments. I haven't got any recently, which I'm a little bit sad about. Just a little bit sad. But apart from that, thanks for watching. I'll catch you later.